I just keep coming back to the fact that she is literally 102 years old, and she is straight up telling you not to save your energy for a rainy day. I mean, it's fucking insane.
Right. The exact quote is to spend it wildly, which
Yeah.
is such a phenomenal phrase.
Yes. Spend it wildly. You know, you've got this woman, a centenarian, who has survived an entire century of absolute global chaos, wars, pandemics, massive personal tragedies, and her core philosophy completely annihilates what we are all taught about aging.
Oh, completely.
Because we're conditioned from day one to slow down. Right. Conserve, take it easy, be careful, don't overdo it. And she's out here saying that is complete bullshit.
It flips the entire paradigm of how we view human vitality. And I mean, we aren't just talking about a random 102-year-old with a plucky attitude.
All right, no.
This is Dr. Gladys McGarey. She is widely recognized as the mother of holistic medicine. She trained as a medical doctor during World War II, which, if you just pause to think about the extreme institutional sexism in the medical field at that time.
Oh, it's a massive battle on its own, just getting in the door.
Exactly. And she co-founded the American Holistic Medical Association. She's been delivering babies, treating patients, and practicing medicine for 80 years.
80 years of clinical practice. And that's what makes this so wild to me. I can't stop thinking about how backwards we treat aging and honestly just living in general. We treat our bodies like smartphone batteries on 1%. We're constantly dimming the screen, turning off background apps, putting it on low power mode, trying to just, eke out a few more hours of existence. And she's sitting there saying, no, turn the brightness all the way up until the fucking phone dies.
Yes, exactly. Because she understands something fundamental about physics and biology that we tend to ignore.
Right.
Life force isn't something you can hoard in a savings account.
Right.
It just doesn't work like that. If you look at the first law of thermodynamics, energy isn't created or destroyed, it just changes state. It has to flow. Her argument is that if you hoard your energy out of fear, you restrict the flow of life itself. Yeah. You actually drain yourself by trying to conserve, because stagnation is what kills you.
Okay, but the natural next question for anyone listening is, where does this infinite energy actually come from?
Right.
Because you look at the modern wellness industry today, and everyone is obsessing over finding the perfect green smoothie, the exact right supplement stack, or, the best cold plunge routine to live to 100.
Yeah, the biohacking obsession.
Exactly. But you can't just drink a green smoothie and expect to live forever with endless energy. She says you need what she calls the juice.
The juice. It's such a beautifully simple term for a massive concept. In Eastern philosophies, you might hear it called prana or chi.
Okay.
Emergency room doctors and hospice workers often call it the will to live. It's the profound reason for living. It's that creative, driving life energy you get when you connect with your unique gifts and actually share them with the world.
And without it.
Without it, people get so obsessed with health fads that they literally forget to live. They might fix a specific physical symptom, but without the juice, they just don't have a fundamental reason to get out of bed.
Right, and she didn't just theorize this later in life. She experienced it firsthand from a very young age.
Oh, her origin story is incredible. So she grew up in India in the 1920s and 30s. Her parents were pioneering osteopathic medical missionaries.
All in the jungles, right.
Yeah, treating completely underserved populations, people with leprosy, people cast out by the rigid caste system. And young Gladys is really struggling. She had severe dyslexia long before the medical community even had a word for it.
Let alone a treatment.
Exactly. So the letters are just constantly swimming on the page. Her first grade teacher singles her out, holds her back a year, and Gladys truly believes she is just stupid. She's lonely. She's hiding under her nanny shawl, crying, terrified she'll never be able to follow her parents into medicine.
Which is the only thing she actually wants to do.
Right. But then, one day in their winter medical camp, this local man walks in leading a wounded elephant. And not just any elephant. This is the local Raja's favorite hunting elephant.
No pressure.
Exactly. It had a massive bamboo stump festering deep in its foot. Her mother, who obviously had never treated a royal elephant before.
I mean, who has?
Right. She just casually talks to it like any nervous patient.
Yeah.
And asks young Gladys to help her. Gladys goes into the medical tent and meticulously mixes this heavy basin of purple potassium permanganate solution.
And she knows this chemical will literally scald her skin if it splashes, but she carefully carries it out to this massive, unpredictable animal.
She does. Her mother pulls the bamboo out, treats the horrific wound, and the elephant is so incredibly well-mannered it doesn't even flinch. But here is where the aha moment happens.
Okay.
The next day, the elephant comes back to the camp. And to show its gratitude, it reaches down with its massive trunk, wraps it gently around young Gladys, and lifts her high into the air. Yeah. She rides this elephant down to the river to play. And in that moment, she realizes something profound. Carrying that dangerous purple solution, helping her mother ease that animal's pain, she realizes her juice is healing.
That's amazing.
She suddenly knows she is essential. She realizes her dyslexia doesn't mean she's stupid, and it absolutely won't stop her. She found her juice, and that sheer energy literally propelled her through college and medical school when all the odds were against her.
Okay, that is a beautiful cinematic story. But I have to push back here because if you're listening to this, you might be thinking, well, yeah, it is really easy to find your juice when you are literally saving a royal elephant in the jungles of India.
Sure, yeah.
That is objectively epic. But if you're sitting in a beige cubicle right now, staring at a spreadsheet under fluorescent lights, feeling completely dead inside, how do you find your juice?
That is the exact right question because most of us aren't treating elephants. Dr. Gladys addresses this beautifully with the story of a patient named Lillian. Lillian was the polar opposite of a kid in a jungle. She was a wealthy, comfortable, modern woman who objectively had everything. She had a good marriage, grown, successful kids, money, status, a beautiful home.
The American dream, basically.
Exactly. But she came into the clinic feeling physically terrible. She had these vague shifting symptoms, aches, deep fatigue, a fuzzy head, just a general sense of being unwell. Dr. Gladys runs through the standard clinical checklist: diet, sleep, pain, blood work, and finds nothing structurally wrong. Finally, she asks her what's really going on. And Lillian just breaks down weeping and says, I don't have anything to live for anymore. I'm done.
Damn. Just complete emptiness.
Exactly. Her juice had completely run dry. She was volunteering, but she felt like she was just going through the motions. She was a ghost in her own life. So Dr. Gladys tells her she needs to actually engage to find something that sparks her.
And does she?
Well then, Lillian physically breaks her hip shortly after that appointment. Now she's lying in a hospital bed, absolutely depressed, doing nothing, convinced this is the end. Dr. Gladys visits her and basically says, look, your legs don't work right now, but your arms and your mind do. You need to take back the planning for your charity gala right now from this bed.
Which, I mean, that sounds so harsh. The woman has a shatty hip and you're telling her to plan a party.
It sounds incredibly harsh, but it's actual medicine. It's a prescription for life. Lillian starts choosing decorations, arranging speakers, picking menus, all from her hospital bed. She gets on the phone, and her energy completely shifts.
Wow.
Her body actually heals faster because she suddenly has a tangible reason to heal. The gala ends up being a massive success. The point is, juice isn't just handed to you by the universe. It requires your active participation. You have to initiate the movement, you have to find a way to be useful to someone or something, and then the juice starts flowing.
That transition is fascinating to me. This idea that if you don't have juice, your energy stagnates. We normally think of being stuck as just a mental or emotional state, like, oh, I'm in a rut at work, or I'm feeling a little uninspired.
Right.
But Dr. Gladys draws a terrifyingly direct line between mental stagnation and severe physical breakdown.
Yes, because all life needs to move. The universe is governed by impermanence. If you look at the Buddhist concept of anicca, everything is always in motion.
Okay.
When we try to stop that natural flow, when we stubbornly hold on to a trauma, a heartbreak, or an old identity that doesn't serve us anymore, our body literally stops working. We hold tension, which restricts circulation, compromises the lymphatic system, and literally locks up our digestion.
Which brings us to Teresa. When I learned about Teresa, I was just mind blown. Teresa's an 80-year-old woman suffering from severe chronic intestinal obstruction.
Right, literal physical blockages in her gut, dangerous ones.
Western medicine looks at this and says, okay, let's fix the plumbing. They throw everything at it. Diet changes, more water, exercise, heavy laxatives, procedures. None of it is working. She is miserable and in constant pain. So she goes to Dr. Gladys, and instead of prescribing another laxative, Dr. Gladys starts asking her about her dreams and her social life. And Teresa gets super defensive, crossing her arms, basically saying, what the hell do my dreams have to do with my bowels?
Because in Western medicine, we're trained to look at the body as a collection of isolated mechanical organs. We treat the gut exactly like a broken pipe under a sink.
Right.
We don't ask, what are you holding on to in your gut?
Right.
But Dr. Gladys probes deeper, and Teresa finally breaks down and admits she is hoarding this massive, suffocating amount of grief. She had lost 5 close friends and family members in a single year. 5.
Holy shit. That's an unimaginable amount of loss to process.
And she hadn't been digesting that grief at all. She was just holding it in, refusing to let it move through her, trying to stay strong.
Wait, stop for a second. So emotional constipation literally caused physical constipation.
Yes.
You're telling me holding on to grief can actually physically paralyze your organs. How does that actually work? Because that sounds like magic.
It's not magic at all. It is deeply rooted in our neurobiology.
Yeah.
You have to look at the enteric nervous system, which is literally known as your second brain located in your gut.
Okay.
It communicates directly with your actual brain via the vagus nerve. Think of the vagus nerve like a massive fiber optic cable connecting your brainstem straight down to your colon. When you hoard grief or trauma, your brain perceives a constant state of threat. It locks you into sympathetic nervous system dominance.
Oh, fight or flight.
Exactly. And when you're in fight or flight, your body shuts down anything that isn't essential for immediate survival.
Like digestion.
Yes. Blood flow is literally diverted away from your digestive tract and pushed into your arms and legs so you can run or fight. Peristalsis, the involuntary muscle contractions that move food through your intestines, just stops.
Yeah.
The physical blockage is real, but the root cause is a nervous system frozen in grief. The moment Teresa admitted her sadness in that office and actually cried, the moment she allowed herself to feel the emotion and let it move, her vagus nerve signaled safety.
It shifted her back.
It shifted her back into rest and digest mode. Her physical bowel obstruction literally dissipated. Immediately after the appointment, her digestion and elimination returned to normal. Her tears had to move first so the rest of her body could follow.
That fundamentally changes how you look at the human body. If being stuck can literally paralyze your organs and stop your physical functioning, then what is the actual mechanism that gets it moving again? Because you can't just tell someone, hey, stop being sad, your bowels are backing up.
No, definitely not.
It's not just about trying harder. The mechanism, according to Dr. Gladys, is love. Which, again, we have to unpack because love is medicine sounds like a cliche on a Hallmark greeting card.
It does sound fluffy, but she applies it as a literal, targeted, clinical intervention. Take the story of a patient named Susan. Susan was a young teacher whose spine was absolutely shattered in a horrific car accident.
God.
Broken in several places. The prognosis was incredibly grim. Doctors weren't sure she'd ever walk again. Dr. Gladys sits by her hospital bed and tells her she needs to literally send love to her osteoblasts.
Her bone-building cells.
Yes. She explains the cellular anatomy to Susan. Osteoblasts are the cells that build new bone. Osteoclasts are the cells that break it down. She tells Susan to visualize her osteoblasts actively healing the fractures and to consciously love them, to strengthen them with her faith and positive energy.
And Susan does this.
She does. She visualizes it daily. She chooses love over the absolute terror of her paralysis.
Yeah.
And just over a year later, she is walking again.
Okay, I am going to push back here. Telling your bone cells you love them. Honestly, that sounds like absolute New Age Sedona crystal retreat nonsense at first glance.
I get it. The skepticism is completely valid.
But, you know, when I really think about it, if I get incredibly stressed out at work, my brain sends a signal that physically produces excess acid and I get a fucking ulcer. My invisible, intangible thoughts literally burn a bleeding hole in my stomach lining.
Exactly.
So if negative thoughts can definitively destroy cellular tissue, why couldn't focused positive energy and love promote cellular repair?
That is exactly it. And the hard science completely backs this up. Dr. Gladys isn't just throwing out woo-woo guesses. We could look at the Nobel Prize-winning research by Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn. She discovered the mechanics of telomeres, which are the protective end caps on our chromosomes.
Okay.
Think of them like the little plastic aglets on the ends of your shoelaces that keep them from fraying. Blackburn found that these telomeres are directly affected by our psychological state.
Wait, really? So our thoughts are changing our chromosomes?
They are changing how your genes express themselves. It's the science of epigenetics. Your cells are constantly listening to your internal chemical environment. If you flood your system with fear, chronic stress, and isolation, your body pumps out cortisol. Cortisol essentially bathes your cells in acid, shortening those telomeres rapidly.
So you age faster.
Your DNA frays, and you age and break down faster. But if you flood your system with focused self-love, safety, and community connection, your brain releases oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. This chemical bath actually activates an enzyme called telomerase, which rebuilds and protects those chromosome end caps.
Holy shit.
Right. So yes, Susan's visualization of love literally changed her internal chemical environment, allowing her osteoblasts to function at their absolute peak capacity.
which highlights how self-love is the foundation, but community is what amplifies that life force. You cannot do this entirely alone.
Absolutely not. We are biologically wired for connection. There is a staggering study from Brigham Young University that shows feeling chronically lonely has the same negative effect on your mortality as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
15 cigarettes a day, just from being lonely?
Yes. Think about the physiology of that. From an evolutionary standpoint, if you are alone, separated from the tribe, you are vulnerable to predators. You are in danger. So your body stays in a constant state of low-grade fight or flight. You have chronic inflammation, elevated stress hormones, elevated blood pressure.
How did that start?
Poor social relationships increase your risk of heart disease by 29% and stroke by 32%. Dr. Gladys compares our modern, atomized isolation to a kibbutz she visited in Israel in 1969. She was blown away by the kibbutz because everything was deeply interconnected. The school, the farm, the clinic, the kitchen, everyone had a distinct purpose, and everyone relied heavily on each other.
Unlike how we live now.
Right. When you strip that away, when you try to be this hyper-independent, fiercely isolated modern individual who orders everything on an app and never talks to their neighbors, you are cutting yourself off from the collective life force. You dry up.
Which brings up the ultimate question for me. If life is this constant flow of energy and we need love and community and purpose to keep it moving, how do you sustain that for 100 years? Because life isn't just galas and kibbutzim. It's tragedy. It's betrayal.
Yes.
How do you not just burn out from the sheer friction of existence? And that's where we hit what is arguably the most painful part of Dr. Gladys's life, the story of her divorce. It's brutal.
It is deeply painful. She is nearly 70 years old. She and her husband, Bill, have been married for decades. They built a large family together. They built a massive medical practice together. They pioneered entire holistic medical movements side by side. And then, abruptly, he leaves her.
Wow.
And not just leaves her, he leaves her for another woman, a nurse, who works right there at their clinic.
The ultimate betrayal. At 70, you think you have your whole life figured out, you're looking at the sunset of your life, you've built your legacy, and the rug is just completely, violently ripped out from under you.
And the humiliation was entirely public, too. Everyone in their tightly knit community knew. She described this incredible scene of being in her backyard in the Arizona desert late at night. She's looking at the saguaro cacti and the stars, and she is wearing her husband's old, oversized slippers.
The visual of that is so striking to me. She's wearing his slippers that are way too big for her, just shuffling around the desert. Why?
Because she was literally trying to walk in his shoes.
Yeah.
She was trying to understand the path his soul was on that caused him to upend her life so completely. She was howling at the sky in sheer agony, feeling discarded like an old coat left on a peg.
Yeah.
But in that absolute rock-bottom moment, she makes a profound, deliberate choice. She chooses not to fight reality.
And this is where she gets the custom license plate.
Yes. She gets a custom license plate that says, "Be glad." And she drives all over Phoenix with it, with the public dissolution of her marriage in full view of everyone. She realizes that fighting what has already happened is just a massive, catastrophic drain on her life force.
She just accepts it.
She didn't have to agree with what he did. She didn't have to excuse the betrayal, but she had to accept that it happened so she could see what the experience had to teach her.
It's exactly like getting caught in a rip current in the ocean. If you panic and spend all your energy fighting the current, trying to swim straight back to shore against millions of gallons of water, you exhaust yourself and you drown. You die.
Yes.
If you surrender to the current, let it take you out, and swim parallel to the shore, you survive. She didn't forgive him for his sake. She didn't put on those slippers to excuse his horrific behavior. She did it so she didn't drown in her own bitterness.
That's a perfect analogy, and that is the absolute core of spending your energy wildly. We think we need to build walls and hoard our energy to protect ourselves from being hurt again. But she realized that if you stop wasting your life force resisting the past, you suddenly have an infinite supply of energy to invest in the present.
That makes so much sense.
If you hoard your energy in bitterness, you block the flow. You have to spend it on the things you love, the things that bring you juice, and trust that life will replenish it. Because she stopped fighting the ocean, she had the energy to build a brand new clinic with her daughter. She wrote books. She stepped out from behind her husband's shadow to become a renowned leader in her own right.
So think about this. She's 102 years old right now. She survived cancer. She survived her husband leaving her for a coworker at 70. She's lived through a century of global chaos, wars, pandemics, and immense personal heartbreak. And right now, today, she is currently executing a 10-year plan.
a 10-year plan to build a village for living medicine. At 102, she is aggressively investing her energy into the future because she refuses to believe she is too old or that her life force is running out.
So you're listening to this right now. You've heard the stories. You've heard the actual hard science about how your thoughts literally alter your DNA and how your unexpressed grief paralyzes your organs. If a 102-year-old woman who has been through all of that can sit down and enthusiastically write out a 10-year plan for her life, what the hell is your excuse? What is stopping you from leaving that dead-end relationship, changing that soul-crushing career, or completely shifting your mindset right now? Are you going to keep your phone battery on low-power mode forever, just trying to quietly survive until the end? Or are you going to turn the brightness all the way up and spend your energy wildly?